The name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. And I can't believe I forgot to mention in the last show, we have this wonderful new set thanks to Dina, Brian, and Scott. So thank you very much. The place looks great. What do you think, Pop? Our guest is Max Bendich.
Please. I was waiting for you.
So
Try
Dad,
and get your armor.
what do you think of the new set? Isn't it wonderful?
It just fits me as a glove.
That's good. So we were trying to figure out on this new set if we should talk about something old, something we talked about. And one of the things I was wondering about, again, we won't get into all the details, but you were kind of a hustler during World War II. And one thing, I mean, you're going to be 101 years old in a couple of months, and you're a World War II veteran, right? You were part of the liberating forces of France, the occupying forces of France, Germany, and Brussels.
Wait, no, and don't say that. And occupying the American zone of Berlin.
Nice place, right? I mean, you had a lot of good times in France, right? With good people. Good times meaning you met wonderful people and you spent time with them. But your real some more interesting experiences happened in Germany, right?
If you want to talk about, again, about the war, again, like you say, it is interesting. Why? I was a hustler.
Right.
I started at T5, that's all I was.
What was a
technician,
T5?
fifth ring, a corporal.
A corporal?
But, no, a corporal is I had 2 stripes and a T.
Right.
That's a corporal. But it isn't a corporal. You're a step lower than a corporal. Right. When you see only 2 stripes, that's like a buck sergeant, but a buck corporal. Now, I thought it's an interesting, because it changed my Alan to today, actually.
Right.
What happened? Again, I used to work in the mess hall because I had arguments with the lieutenant saying, look, get a slide rule, read it, instead of giving them instead of 5 pounds of potatoes, you give them 3. Why? Because give them the exact amount.
Right.
And he said to me one time, look, have you got a slide rule? I said, yes. I'm giving you an order. Do that.
So you ordered supplies? Is that what you did?
No. What did I do? They would order supplies.
Right.
And you go down to the depot.
Right.
And I would, again, and I had one time I even had a buck sergeant working for me. And what did we do at that time? If you, let's say potatoes. The bag of potatoes is a 10-pound bag of potatoes. But suppose you needed 7 pounds. You got the whole 10 pounds. But suppose you needed 4 pounds or 3 pounds, none. Right. And they would fight each other, the mess sergeants and everything. You want to do something? I'm letting you do it. You're going to work in the mess hall with a computer.
Well, not a computer, a slide rule.
With a slide rule.
Right.
And I said, well, look, what are you talking about? I'm a T5. You said you could do it. I said, yes, I can do it. The officers couldn't do it. Right. So what did I do? We go down to
because you're always good with math, right?
Yeah, with numbers.
With numbers.
Wait a minute. Again, we'll talk about numbers for 2 seconds. I joined the Signal Corps.
Right.
And in the Signal Corps, you had an opportunity. We had tables, round tables, and you can make 5 different companies on one table. Company A is right around there. They're called this telephone. Company B, and that was my work to do this.
And it was telephones.
And there were telephones.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, and I worked in the mess hall.
Right.
And in the mess hall, what did I like? Only thing, they said, oh, you're going to go in KP, not me, other people, as a punishment, and you have to peel potatoes. The best job in the Army. Well, you work about 12 hours. 12 on, it's called, and 12 off. Right. You could sleep No one bothers you. To work in the mess hall was good. I took advantage of it. And little by little, I helped out this company and I helped out that company.
By ordering things properly?
I gave them actually almost to the potato or whatever it was, to the bread. And
the exact amount they needed?
The exact amount. And they liked me. And they would come over and talk to me about it, actually. But we also had a small portion of the Air Force,
right,
a company. And that helped me a lot. Most of the people from the Air Force, they were officers.
right.
And they wanted different things. And
why did they want the different things? You could say it. I'll say it.
No.
For their girlfriends?
Wait a minute. 2 seconds before that,
yeah.
When I was in Paris,
yes.
Money meant nothing. We subsidized the French money.
Right.
We subsidized, where a franc became 2 cents for us.
Right.
But for the Frenchmen, it was worth a half a cent.
Right.
That they could buy. And Alan and I used to buy perfume. Gourmet,
Chanel.
Chanel No. 5. Pack it up good. And Alan, Mom used
Send
to
it to Mom, right?
Mom gave it instead of, she saved some of it.
Right.
Gave it to her friends, and the money was nothing. But something else happened. In Berlin, we were the occupying force in our section.
Right.
In Berlin, it was in the Russian zone, and in the Russian zone, they took Berlin and divided it into 4. America, Russia, French, and
England? No, I don't know.
and England.
It was England?
And England.
Okay. Take a drink.
So we were in the Russian zone.
Right.
A short time. Near, I'll remember the.
It doesn't matter.
And I hear people saying, who's going to go down to Paris? And they know that I worked in Paris and everything. I was wondering why. We have to go and buy things here. What are the Russians? They're buying watches.
Right.
And I'm looking, what do you mean they're buying watches? See the watch that you got here? How much does it cost? Maybe I said about $10 or $15. 10. Usually you get them for $10 on a PX.
Right.
And you know how much you can get for it? Who's that? Who's it? $500. Alan, can you imagine a watch like this?
Right.
What happened? The Russians got paid 5 years' salary in advance. No, at the end of the war.
Right.
Spend it. You can't send $1 home.
Wow.
But what can you send? Perfume and dresses. And for the first 2 days, I wasn't connected with this.
Right.
One day as I'm walking, and what do I see? Again, I forgot the name of it. The Russians are with the Americans, and I see these guys, 10 watches on their hand, right. 10 watches on their hand. Alan, $5,000
right.
is here, 5,000. And what are they doing? Selling watches to the Russians.
Right.
And what are they selling it for? $500.
Now I know one thing. The watch they wanted the most was the Mickey Mouse watch.
Oh,
right?
oh, you could, Mickey Mouse. They were still Stalin.
You told me about that, right?
Yeah, they're still Stalin. Very few people had the Mickey Mouse.
Right.
If they did, but again, and something else they wanted. 7 jewels. But the rate.
Right. I remember the 7 jewel watches.
And I know Russia. Raz, dva, tri, четыре, пять, шесть, семь. Up to 7.
Right.
7 jewels. I don't even know what. But Alan, once they knew there's 7 jewels.
That was it.
And Alan, no bargaining,
right.
No nothing. The Air Force started it.
Right.
This is the pricing. That's what you want. Oh, the expensive things. You should. They lost money on the expensive.
Right. Oh, sure.
Meaning, instead of arguing with someone, you want to sell it for $700 or for, keep it for 500
And sell 10 of them. Right.
and Alan,
So-
because
so what happened?
And these people in the Air Force were
Right.
getting good, they were getting their share, not much more their share.
Right.
And they knew me. They would come over and they knew that I worked in Paris. I had friends in Paris. And I would tell them, come on, how about sending me down, take me down there. We would go down to Paris. And we also went on to Brussels. And you go into the PX, buy out the PX. No, Alan, and we would take the watch.
How many watches would you buy?
As much as you could only put about 10. I bought 10 at a time.
Right.
That's $5,000. $100.
Right.
To me, $100 was a lot of money.
Right.
And I would get $5,000, Alan. What did I do then? A piece of paper they called script.
Right.
All it had is that, the difference between the Russian money and where were they made, Alan? Near Hunts Point Palace. I mean, there's a big factory that makes money
Right.
for different countries.
Right.
The different country, the American country, had a zero or not a zero. And for the rest of the world, it had a zero or not a, whatever it was.
Whatever the code was.
And we would get the money, and I would go over to the post office.
Right.
And I made it, they knew me a little.
Right.
And I sat down with one of the guys, and I said, look, he knew what I was doing.
Right.
I said, big deal. Here are 2 pieces of paper, $200.
Right.
Alan, in the end, I was even stuck with.
Right.
What did I have to do? I get money orders, Alan. Money orders from the people.
Right.
And if it was a $200 or $300 money order, I give them $300 or $400.
Right.
Because what was it?
Pieces of paper.
Pieces of paper.
And you were actually getting U.S. And you were getting real currency in return.
No, I was getting
Money order, which is currency.
I was getting money order
Right.
made out to Dorothy Bendich.
I know.
Wait a minute. Made out to Dorothy Bendich.
Which is my mother and your wife.
And I would send 10 of them in an envelope. But what did I do? None of them did this.
Yeah.
I insured it.
Oh.
Here I had $1,000. No, $5,000.
Right.
And I was said $50. For $50, it was given special handling, and I wrote to
Smart.
Mom,
Right.
and
So
I
no one
said,
could-
"This is number 6, number 20," and she saved all the envelopes, and we didn't lose one envelope.
So you got a lot of money.
And I made a lot of money. Mom, no, I think I told you this before. So she gets these letters, and she knows she's not going to do it all at once, and she goes to the bank. And what do they see there? Money orders made out from Lieutenant to Dorothy Bendich. She says,
All these different
she said, "Mac,
soldiers.
I felt like a prostitute." Alan,
Mom.
I felt like a look.
I know.
And Alan, it worked.
I know.
Alan, money, unbelievable
And it was
money.
people, the Russians.
Wait.
money.
Wait. The Stars and Stripes
I know.
came out with a statement. GIs paid $2 million or $3 million
Whatever the dollar was.
for the salary. They sent home $9 million.
I know, you told
They
me
sent
that's it.
home $9 million.
know.
And we kept on doing this, Alan.
Until you couldn't do it anymore.
Until I couldn't. And why? Once you're in Berlin,
Yes.
you're on the way home.
Right.
The war was over. The war was over. One time, after they put it in the Stars and Stripes,
Yes.
the Russian, this is an American and the Russian zone, but it's the American section.
Right.
Still, this Russian general comes over. Everybody get out of here, and no more. So what happens? Instead of going to this place,
Right.
they all went to how they did it. Alan, I followed.
So, Daddy, if you close your eyes, could you still see those days, see the people that you were? Those memories, are they still vivid for you?
They're still, Alan, you know what, again, they're still vivid. because I didn't believe what I was doing, Alan. It couldn't happen at that.
Right.
It's impossible.
Was it the most amazing thing that happened in your life at that point?
In my life. No, the most. Again, let's go back to the beginning. Boom.
Okay.
We are 7 fellas, Alan, and 7 girls.
Right.
They're about 18, 19 years old, and I'm the oldest one, about 25. But we had gone on Coney Island. We did this. A new fella comes into the where he came from, and he went over to one of the girls, started going out with them. Eventually, he married her. And what's happening? We realized they are our age or a little. It's time for them to think about getting married.
Right.
So we went and we made a little club, like just the way this thing here. We made a club, and we waited for girls to come in, and 2 girls came in. And I loved folk music. And we would listen to the folk music while we were cleaning up for the girls to come in. And then when they came in, get that junk out of this here, put on dance music. And
It was Paul Robeson.
And it was Paul Robeson. The one that we were playing at that time was Paul Robeson about Ballad for Americans. So one of the girls said, I want to listen to this. Whoever, maybe it was the one I took out on An Alan. Oh, they would dance 2 dances with us, go to the next one, dance 2 dances, or if they liked, they would stay with this guy, and we met people. And they liked what I saw, and they went away. I never saw them again.
Right.
Wait, thinking I never. One day they came back, and my friend says, I never danced with another girl in my life. That's why I say,
And that's Mom. That was Mom.
That was Mom. The girl that I left behind the first time was the one that was going to be my wife.
Right.
And so, Alan, luck, and things were good.
Yeah, it is. Everything's amazing, you know. And everything passes, though. That's the whole thing, you know. You go through it. It's part of like a journey, right? And you just, one thing about you is that, and I also feel this way, like sometimes one of the differences between you and I is that I get down from time to time. You're always up. But I always find myself when I'm with other people getting up again, like even at work, you know. I find trying to make them feel good makes me feel good. Trying to work with them makes me work better.
That's what I do always,
right.
Alan.
But I don't do that always. But when I do it, it makes me feel good. I mean, it's something. When I do that, that's the best I'm being. You know, that's the best Alan that there is.
And I don't do it for that's my normal thing, Alan.
Right.
I like people, Alan. I like people.
And people like you.
People like me.
Right.
Alan, you'd be surprised. I don't want to talk. You're not here. The women that come over to me,
yes,
and some of them are nuns. Alan, oh Max, they know that. You know, they call sisters somebody. Right. And I was, you saw me. Aaron sees it also. They come over and they talk to me. I'm one of the only ones, Alan.
Right. And you continue to be. And you know, it's interesting. You're going to be 101 in March.
Yes.
And
right now it's the end of January.
Right, it's the end of January. Right, because we're not going to. Just because we're shooting it in the end of January doesn't mean that they're going to see it in the end of January. But in March, you know, 101, and you're still the same. You know, you haven't changed.
You know, well, to me, you have to have a line.
Right.
And what is my line? The answer is saying, well, again, about
being 101, not changing. You're not changing.
About the 101. Oh. And what's my line? I said, look how beautiful you are. So what?
Yeah.
What's age? The days become weeks. The weeks
that's
become
your life.
the weeks become months.
That's
the months
the max
become
BS.
years. And the years become 101.
I know,
it works.
I just remember. I remember also Mom saying, you know, oh, you're full of crap and all this stuff. I mean, you just like to. I miss that. I miss Mom going, you know, going like that to you all the time. But it's true. You know, you're a charmer. You've always been a charmer in your business. I mean, you know, the thing that distinguished you from other people doing what you did when you owned your laundry was your charm, right?
But I know, again, I'm lucky, I don't know. The prices were always the same,
Right.
except one thing. Whenever the steam laundry would get
Now the steam laundry
raise
was
some
where you
price.
used to send the laundry out to get done, and then you
Yes,
come back.
I would send the laundry out,
Right.
it comes back, and all of a sudden, 2 years or something have passed, and they
Raise the prices.
and they raise the prices. So they would raise the prices, but I didn't raise the prices. They said, well, I raised it a little more, but 10% raise. Or what? 10%
On the
cost,
bottom.
on the bottom. Cost of living increase. After a while, it was 30 or 40.
know.
Alan, it was 30 or 40%.
remember.
And the original price on the thing, how I got away with it, I don't
But I
know.
think that, you know, they trusted you. I mean, you used to deliver laundry early in the morning to the people
Well,
before work.
That's when I got into trouble.
Right.
It was early in the morning.
And it was graduation day from
Yeah, graduation.
my graduation day.
I know it. Well, I went.
And
you
I was
were-
mad at you.
No, you were graduating. I was going to work until 12 o'clock, come over to you. But the idea was that somebody else was waiting for me. That's over right there.
But you
Alan-
survived that. You know, you're going to be 101, and that happened in 1969 that you got shot. So, and that was an amazing time too. And there's going to be a movie one day that I'm going to make about it. And Frank Flores or Frank Sinclair has written the script. The whole thing is it's a period piece. I really want to do that movie, and I want to do it with you playing your father and I'm playing you. That's
all right.
That's what I want to do. But you're a lot stronger than your father was, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
Believe it or not. Well, look, Alan, what was his life? A shirt ironer.
Right.
But what is a shirt ironer?
Right.
Not like this. They have these steam irons and everything. That iron weighed almost 10 pounds, Alan. 10 pounds. And you had to have the iron hot.
Right.
So there was a little fireplace. Actually, all the time, you put that 10-pound or whatever iron on the thing, and you use another iron as you're doing it.
Right.
The minute it
got cold, you had to switch it.
You turn it upside down into the water, the handle, because it's so hot. But
did it ruin his hands? Or
no,
because I don't remember his hands
no, I don't.
being.
No, that never even occurred to me to ask.
But I miss your parents. It was fun. I remember when you used to go on the laundry on the route in the Bronx, in the south, near Hunts Point, because they used to live around Hunts Point. At one point, you used to drop me off on a Saturday. You used to have a route on either Friday or Saturday night. I think it was Saturday night.
It has to be Saturday.
It was Saturday night, and you used to drop me off at your parents' house. I'd play checkers with your father and eat crummy cakes that your mother had. No, but it was wonderful, and
My father used to also play chess.
I know.
You know, when they moved to
Where Aaron lived.
Concourse Village,
Right, Concourse Village.
Aaron, my brother Aaron, took care of them.
I know.
He paid for everything. He would walk with that chess set into, where are you going? To the senior center. What's a senior center? I never knew what it, and he taught me that. And eventually we almost lived in a senior center.
I know. But he was an amazing guy too. You know, I mean, he came from. How did he come from the? I mean, do you know the story of how he came? I mean, he was in the army, right? Didn't he?
Who?
Your father in
No.
Russian army when he
No.
came. How did
No.
he?
Wait a
Someone
minute.
was in the. Oh no, maybe it was Isaac. There was one person, one of the relatives.
No. My father, the draft came,
Right.
and he and his wife, my mother, left. I came right over here,
Okay.
and
But they weren't married yet, were they? I don't think so.
haven't got. I think they were around.
Okay.
And 9 months later, or whatever it was,
You were born, right?
I was born,
Right.
and
But you could have been born in Russia.
I could have been.
Isn't that weird?
Never thought, Alan, I could have been born in. Oh, then they would be lost. They would speak Russian, Alan, so I don't understand what they were talking about.
Right.
And they speak Yiddish, and I knew Yiddish.
Right.
But if I was born in Russia,
But that's, do you ever think about that? If they left and like within a year you were born,
yes.
that to me is that itself is an amazing story,
Why?
Because of luck.
Look, Alan, yes. Alan, the relatives were waiting.
Right.
And they had a steam laundry up in Ellenville.
Right.
And they took my parents in.
Right.
And as soon as either she was pregnant or whatever it was, we came back and we moved up from there, from the downtown and Orchard Street and the red
Right.
into it just was already in Harlem, 110th Street,
Right.
Into the Bronx.
Right.
And
then you stayed in the Bronx ever since.
I stayed in the Bronx.
And you're still there. And you're still in the Bronx.
And I'm
You've been in the Bronx for 100 years. Almost, right?
Again, I have to say that there's a Puerto Rican person. Oh, Juan, what a nice guy. And like you say, look, this guy, he lived there, and he's still living there. And
That's amazing. And mom was born in Detroit, I think, right?
Mom was born in Detroit.
I wonder how old she was when she came to
I don't know. But one thing I remember about Mom, again,
Yes.
look at them from this to that. And we lived on 136th Street. On 137th, one block was a market where they sold vegetables, everything. And the whole street was a market.
Right.
But on the corner was a horse and wagon. He was there. In other words, he was selling unbelievable amount of things. Like the man who owned it, and take potatoes, 25 pounds for a quarter, Alan.
Right.
And sometimes the potato would roll on the floor.
Right.
Now just imagine and on the floor. Sometimes even between the horse's legs, and kids, even we would run into and get the. Mom used to do that.
Right.
Where? In Detroit. She would tell me. And then there was always a field where they made a fire.
And make Mickeys.
And make Mickey.
Now, what's a Mickey?
A Mickey is a potato. You put the potato in with the skin. The skin becomes black and everything.
Yeah.
But the potato, when you break it open or you cut, white. I haven't heard that word Mickey
in a while, because you used to tell me about Mickeys.
I know it, but Alan.
Mickey.
There are other things I think about.
But no one, we never, my generation wouldn't know about Mickeys and wouldn't even have the appreciation.
No, not
of a
the
Mickey.
idea.
Right.
You wouldn't find the spot.
Right.
We had every spot eventually was.
Oh, you also told me that once a year there was something where they had they had bonfires. And that's when Mickey's also. What was
Alan,
it called?
And when you speak to people about it, they remember.
What was it? Because we're running out of time.
Day.
Election Day.
Election Day fire.
Right.
Now, again, 136th Street, from Brook Avenue to St. Dan, divided into three. The Jewish,
You better do it quick, Pop. We're running out of time.
The Irish, and then in between.
Right.
And what would they do? They took wood and this and make fires.
Right. On Election Day.
On Election Day.
And then they
Wait
throw
a minute,
potatoes in?
and then the fire department would come and put
Well, you
it
know
out.
what? I'm going to have to put this fire out too, Pop, because, it's come to this point in the episode.
Alan.
Okay, but you know what?
Thank
There's
you.
only one thing left to say. That's a wrap. Good night, folks.